I get meat out of it as much as I can. All right. So two things. Again, this is I think the third time we've done this, and the idea is to kind of get a brief update on the company, brief update on the market, and then kind of it's a roundtable. So we talk, ask questions. I have a little random topic each time. If we run out of things to talk about, I'll just start talking about stuff. The topic I was going to talk about today was it's going to be time blocking if we get to it. Last time we talked for like 45 minutes about the market, and it was really great. So if you have questions, stop and ask. Some of this is kind of dense, and so ask questions, understand it. I say this every month we do this. Tom Ferry has a really good quote. It says, everyone can feel what's happening in the market. Good agents know what's happening in the market. Great agents can explain what's happening in the market. So rates are high, inventory is high, everything's all this craziness. There's buyers on the fence. They don't know what's going on. The more you can make them comfortable with their decision, the quicker they're going to get off the fence. And so that is the value of this class, is going to be how do I articulate what's happening in a way that makes them comfortable so they can take action. A confused mind does nothing, and you have to create clarity. So the first thing, I'll touch on this real quick. It's super exciting to see a testament to the agents that we are attracting, and which is you guys, everyone you're working with. Copper Creek became the #1 largest brokerage in Oklahoma City a month ago. We've since put $100 million between us and the next largest. We're pretty close to being what I think might be the largest brokerage.
Hold on. Go ahead, smile. You can smile.
It's crazy to see it. It's truly an accumulation of the people that I get to work with is awesome. And so I hope everyone loves it and stays as long as they can. But it's really, really cool. I had no desire to be #1. I wanted to build a company that I like to hang out at. That was kind of my desire. And through that, I think we attracted more people. But like I said, we were #2 about a month ago, and now we've got a $100 million lead on the next biggest, which is just crazy to think about. So very exciting. And I used to say, I have Lennar, and Lennar has so much volume and transactions. Lennar is about 30 to 40% of our volume. So the brokerage has surpassed Lennar now, which was one of my first goals, and eventually Lennar will be a percentage of it. So really exciting to watch this. So and you guys can feel good. You're working for a cool company, right? So tell everyone you know. Okay, so the market. The big thing with this is looking at data from the previous month. Everyone knows how to go to market stats right here in their MLS. So instead of going to Matrix, you can click market stats. The first day of each month, it will show you the previous month's statistics. So that's kind of what we're looking at. We're seeing which way is it trending as far as inventory, days on market, that kind of stuff that clients, sellers, buyers want to know about. So the basics. Sales price is an important one. It can be swayed by certain properties selling and certain not. So I don't like it. It's pretty consistent. It's slowly growing, but we're in line with most markets our size. Medians around in the mid to high 2s, averages in the low 3s. I like to look at every market is driven by supply and demand. And so that's what I like to pay attention. That shows you trends, and it will show you, allow you to look into the future a little bit, as much as you can. So I like to look at the trends, supply, demand. So it's new listings, how many new listings at the market, homes for sale. This is total inventory of homes. What went pending last month, and then what closed last month. And then the other two things I like to look at are days on market and month supply. So we're going to start with new listings. It's gone. I had my talking points somewhere. I'm just going to wing it. New listings. We had a small dip this month in new listings. So one thing you can do up here is go back like max You can go back 1 year, 3 years, 5 years. So if you go at the max, we have the most listings, new listings coming on the market that we've ever had in our market. You can see here the most previously would have been in 22 when the market was smoking hot and everyone was upgrading and selling and trading and everything. We've now surpassed that by about 500 houses a month. So what's crazy, and this would normally scare people because it's like, holy crap, inventory, there's a ton of supply, prices fall because demand can't keep up and now there's too much to buy, right? So this would normally, this in and of itself can be a little scary. Tremendous amount of homes hitting the market each month can be scary. It can indicate that we're moving into a buyer's market where buyers can get huge discounts on price and you can take your time and get concessions and all that stuff. However, when you look at the other factors, which is going to be homes for sale and mostly pendings and closeds, homes for sale is slowly increasing. It's increasing by about 500 homes a month consistently for the last 3 or 4 months. So it's not being flooded. The market's not being flooded with inventory. So you look at like a mid 2022, you see listings, total homes on the market went from 2,300 up to 4,600 in 6 months. So that is a flood. That is, right now we're adding about 500 houses a month. There we added 2,000 in 6 months. And so, or in less than 6 months. And then the other thing is pending sales. So this is where we're seeing a huge surge, the largest surge we've seen in the last 4 years really of demand. So again, when you combine supply and demand, we're not really seeing a flood of inventory hit the market. We're seeing demand and supply both increase at the same time. We're seeing the market expand a little bit is what it means. There's more people buying, more people selling. So let me keep going. So closed sales, again, hitting all-time highs, getting really close to all-time highs. And we see a little what do you call it, delay from when deals go pending to when deals go closed. So you should see, yeah.
Is this from like last month compared to each year in the month or for like?
So this is, so like this number right here, so this is pending sales in May. 2577 homes got moved from active to pending
In May.
in the month of May.
Okay.
And then closed is 2363 homes got moved from pending to closed in the month of May.
And then that was last year, the dip in May?
Yeah, so maybe you
Okay.
can't read that.
Sorry.
Let me get rid of this. There we go. Is that a little bit better? Keeps getting smaller. So yeah, so you see this is January of 26. So you're gonna see the cycles, just the buying cycles, winter and summer. So you're gonna see the dips every January. This is closed homes. But when you see new listings, same thing. You see November, December it dips, November, December it dips, November, December it dips, and then it starts to rise over that. Now you're looking at this one and you're seeing a slow, steady increase, which is nice, of new listings hitting the market. Same thing with pendings. You're seeing the peak. The low is a little bit higher each time, and the high is a little bit higher each time, right? So you're seeing a trend there of pending sales going up. So, and then you say, same thing, closed sales have been pretty consistent. Days on market is falling. So this is what's kind of interesting, and I have a whole other spreadsheet I'll show you on this. So to see homes for sale, total inventory, total number of homes on the market is going up every month consistently. But we're seeing days on market fall and month supply is going up a little bit. So that seems counterintuitive. How can there be more listings every month, but homes are selling faster? And so super unique. Days on market only triggers when it sells. So the homes that have been sitting there for 6 months are not triggering on this. So it is what we call, and have called in the past, a tale of two markets. So what that means is, if you price your home right, it sells in 20 days. If you price your home wrong, it sells in 90 to 100 days. That's the reality of our market. So I went back this morning and grabbed, there's 3 graphs here. This is closings over the last 6 months. This is everything that's currently pending. This is everything that's currently active. So when you look at closings over the last 6 months, and did they have a price drop or not? So did I price it right the first time or not? Or did we test the market? Did we look for aspirational pricing? Make sense? So if we don't test the market, we price it right, and we don't do a price drop, sells in 21 days over the last 6 months, year to date. If we priced it too high, because you're not listening to what I'm saying, or we're not reacting to the market, or whatever it is, it sits on the market for an average of 99 days. So do you want to sell in under a month, or do you want to sell in 3 months? That's the question we have to the seller, because this is the data. Price drops versus non-price drops. Now, no one has a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen. But if you're in a dense area, if you're in Oklahoma County, I can pretty closely tell you what it's going to sell at and how long it should take to sell out, 90% of the time. So that's what's really happening in this market. We're seeing market days on market fall because when people price right, they sell. When they don't price right, they sit on the market. So same thing here, it just keeps going up. So pendings, if the pending listing had a price drop, it took 3 months to sell. If the pending listing did not have a price drop, it took 21 days to sell, just like the sold ones. And then active, same thing. If there's been a price drop, it's been on the market average of 114 days. If it has not had a price drop, it's been on the market average of 41 days, or 49 days. So super important. This is not a buyer's market, a seller's market. This is not a crashing market or anything like that. It is a balanced market, which means price your home accurately, sells quickly. Price your home inaccurately, takes forever to sell. Very, 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 very simple here. But this is real. I pulled this out of our MLS. These are single family homes for the last 6 months. If you had a price drop, it took you 99 days. If you didn't, it took you 21. That's a huge, I would be showing this to every listing appointment I go on to scare them into doing what I tell you to do.
Can you share it?
Yeah, I'll share all this back out. And so, but that's the reality, right? It's like, no, I can't tell you what's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball. Based on the comps, this is what I'm seeing. We should list it at X. We can list it at Y, but it becomes less predictable. I don't know what's going to happen, and we'll probably fall into that column. But if we list it here, high probability we're going to fall into this column. Now again, this is the whole market. You might be selling in a zip code or a neighborhood that has an average of 50 days on market, right? This is just, we're talking about averages. So if you price it right, we'll sell in the average of that area. If we price it wrong, we could triple the days on market if we're not careful. So that's the conversation that needs to be had with sellers is inventory is growing, buyers have more option, demand is surging also, so we're not in any kind of panic mode, but you price it right, it'll still sell fast. If you don't price it right, it'll sit there forever. It'll sit there for three times the amount of time. So that's how we kind of reconcile how can inventory grow but days on market fall, and it is because we're seeing homes still on the market and that high days on market's not being triggered yet because they're not going pending, they're not closing. The other thing, month supply. So what month supply is like if no more listings hit the market today, just every house, just no one listed, how many months would it take for our market to absorb the active listings? How long would it take our market to eat up the 8,200 listings on the market? So theoretically, the more listings, the more month supply we should have. But the other side of that equation is how much is it absorbing? So we're absorbing 2,500 a month, but there are 3,600 a month coming on. Make sense? About 100 houses are coming on that we can't absorb a month. So it's the inventory is growing, but this is what's most important, I think. We've been in a unique market for the past, I don't want that to go away. For the past 10 years, 15 years almost. So an average, what economists would call a balanced market, real estate market, is 4 to 6 months worth of inventory. It's a balanced market. We haven't been in a balanced market since 2014. We've been in a seller's market, by definition, since 2014. So you see COVID, every house would sell, nothing. We were absorbing houses quicker than they could come on the market. So inventory falls, right? And that drives prices up because there's scarcity and there's more demand than there is supply. And then interest rates jump and demand gets curbed, but supply still exists. So we see inventory continue to grow. And then it kind of steadies out, and it can steadies out again, and now it's somewhat consistent. But we're still at, bless you.
there.
My dad always says you get 2 bless yous. After that, you're on your own. So we're still under. We're at 3.9. So it's 3.5, 3.8, 3.9. So we're still not even at 4 months of inventory. We are still technically in what an economist would define as a seller's market still. Doesn't feel like it, does it? Sellers used to.
Do not touch it, not to.
No, God no. Sellers used to think, here's the problem. Sellers here think they're here, right? And so you used to be able to just pick a number out of thin air and you'd get it with 3 other backup offers. It's been 5 years since that happened. But the news sticks in people's heads, especially when they're wanting to make that money. So the reality is we're in a balanced market, is what I would call. I think based on the trends here of new listings, based on the trends of new listings and the demand at the rate at which we're absorbing them, we'll be above 4 months next month, potentially. So we're in I would call it a balanced market. So what does that mean? It means we can't just pick a price out of thin air and get it. It means we have to be very disciplined with our listing price, and our presentation of our home has to be on point. No more of that, I'll fix it when they ask me to fix it, or we'll just give them allowance at closing. That home sits on the market for 100 days. You need to present your home 100% ready to be purchased and price it accordingly. The way the last 150 years of people who bought and sold houses had to do, except for the last 5. So nothing new here. This is not we're not getting into a new market. We're moving back to what a market really is. That makes sense? And it's very hard to forget what life was like before 2020. But we're getting back there slowly, which is fine. The real estate market was phenomenal in 2019, in 2018, in 2017, and 2016. So that's fine. We're just getting into more of a predictable market. So one other piece to this is mortgage interest rates, obviously. So this is all these, thanks to AI. I took all these graphs and overlaid them, and then I overlaid interest rates as well. So you can kind of see them all, how they move in tandem a little bit. So what I think is interesting is rates. The blue dotted line is interest rates, right here. When rates were at their peak, you see it was normal summer or winter trend, but you saw probably one of the steepest declines when rates were at their peak, when they finally got over 8%. And then you kind of slowly, you see it trending upwards, slowly, but it's trending upwards over the last 3 years. But interest rates are only mildly falling. They were 8 here, they got down to 6 here. Now they're in the mid 6s, 6.55-ish right now. So my take on this, let's do pending sales. So my take is we finally, for the first time in maybe 4 years, have had less than and Rob might be able to talk to this a little bit more, we're seeing consistency. If a buyer starts his buying process, his or her buying process, and is quoted a 6%, but then 2 months later when they buy something it's a 6.5, that creates inconsistency in their buying power, and they sit on the sideline. For the first time in a long time, our variances, the volatility has gone away a lot. So again, you take any 6 month period and you see the huge variation, the volatility going from 8% down to 6.6, back up to 7.5, down to 6.1. So when those huge swings like that is what keeps buyers on the sidelines. You kind of see as the valleys and the peaks condense, is when you kind of start to see more consistency and less volatility, and it gives buyers more confidence. I think more than anything, people don't want 2% interest rates anymore. They just want to know what their interest rate's going to be in a month or in a week. And so it's creating consistency in the interest rate market is what I think is causing the surge of demand. I think there's been, there has been, this is homes for sale. There's a lot of people in 22 that didn't want to, interest rates were starting to go up. They didn't want to buy at a 5% rate because they had a 2% rate, whatever it might have been. Now I think people are just wrapping their head around that this is what a normal rate is. And I think there's probably 2 years of pent-up demand, 2 or 3 years of pent-up demand. And we're seeing rates steady in the low sixes, mid to low sixes. I think pent-up demand is starting to uncoil, and that's why we're seeing so much demand in line with the supply. So again, the real estate market for the last 5 years, every 6 months, it's been a different market. You kind of have to relearn it and relearn what buyers are doing, relearn what sellers are doing. There's been almost no consistency for a very long time. So I'm hoping as interest rates create some consistency, our inventory is creating consistency. It allows buyers and sellers to make real decisions instead of panic decisions or scarcity or supply decisions. That makes sense? That is my thought. Questions, thoughts. What are people feeling? Do we feel like we're in a balanced market? Do we feel like we are buyer-seller market?
Just out of curiosity, what were the average interest rates in 2014, 15? Like 5.5 or 5?
2014. Forwards.
Yeah, it's under 5.
They went into the threes in 15, but they were 4, 3.5 to 5.
What's the peak between 15 and 2020 though? That high is what?
Right.
5s or 6s?
Right.
No,
And then it's 20 now, yeah, right there.
Yeah.
Nope,
A little bit more.
over it,
Right
yeah.
there. 5.
Yeah.
So 18.
Yeah, 5
It's
to
just
peak, November
so
18.
interesting to hear, like, you know, they're hovering right around 6.5 right now, and closer to 6 at the beginning of the
Right.
year. It's not as volatile as it seems, you know,
Mhm.
week by week, but really, like, it's really not that.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it is, and then coupled with insurance being a little bit higher tax.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. There's external factors
Yeah.
pressing on affordability.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. So much of our market is driven by what is it, the 5Ds, the 6Ds, or whatever. Who knows what those are? Diapers, divorces.
Dogs.
Dogs. Oh, we actually, that's a true thing.
But it's life, right? Life drives our market.
Yeah.
We're not driven by a big vacation market. We're not driven by a big industry. You know, oil and gas is like 15% of our GDP. It's not. Oil goes down, we're not bankrupt. So we're driven by life events, and so the coasts that are driven more by travel, vacation homes, stuff like that, the volatility is significantly larger there. Here it's just, so I mean, in our affordability, when you look at our price of homes versus median income, we're probably middle of the road. But when you just look at price of homes, we're in the bottom half of the country.
Is anyone else, like, are y'all noticing that appraisals are coming in lower?
Oh, I had one yesterday, 15K.
I've had it happen multiple times.
I
where
just-
the values are dropping significantly, according to appraisers.
They're not.
It's price wrong.
So they're steady.
Yeah, they're not.
So now, again, this is the macro market. They're looking in a zip code in a neighborhood, and they're looking at comps. So, but yeah, I don't know if it's more or if it's in line, you know, percentage-wise, ratio-wise. But Rachel, one of our agents, had $120,000 appraisal, came in low. And it was like 730, and it came in at 6 something. And it's just like you couldn't. It was land that had a really expensive shop, and there was a bunch of stuff that are hard to value, but it's like, that's aggressive. And so we're seeing some. So our compliance training next week is an appraiser that's going to talk about how to understand appraisals. Amy Scheduler, I can't remember her
Crystal.
name. Crystal. Yes, Manchester.
Chester.
Man something.
Yeah.
So good question. What are you seeing? But that same thing, I had an appraiser undervalue us this years ago, and he's like, prices are dropping across the market. And I'm just like, no, they're not.
I know.
I'm actively writing offers with buyers all the time,
I had
and
a
we're
land-
not going
a
under.
land listing just recently appraised, it was appraised last year for like 100, and then he just appraised it, he valued it at 95. And so we could, my buyer was like, I'm not paying extra for it, and they backed
Yeah.
out. But then like, I've had some other ones, and some people on the team have low appraisals too.
Yeah.
lately. And then we just had to figure out, who's able to come down or come up, or what
Yeah.
we're gonna do.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think the comps from 6 and 9 months ago
They're
are
not
still
the same.
wildly different, that
Yeah.
even choosing those, like, I'm really like
Yeah.
trying to stay tight in 90 days.
Yes.
Because the market was so different 9 months ago than it was
Yes.
90 days ago.
Yeah.
I had one in Midtown, same thing. I was like, we're only gonna use the last 3 months.
Yeah.
I thought we priced it great. We priced it at like 245. We got it under contract at 235, and the appraisal came in at 220.
Mm.
I mean, and the comps, and he was like, I wanna list it under the comps, cause
Right.
I wanna sell it quick.
Yeah.
And it came in at 220, and I
Yeah.
was just like,
So that kind of goes back a little bit to pricing discipline. Is don't go back 8 months to look at your comps. Make sure you're finding homes in the area. Make sure you're finding exact comps. I'm not trying to do a bunch of adjustments on our property, but because it creates that opportunity. But
we thought we were priced like lower, way lower than the comps.
yeah, that's the one thing I wish more agents knew, is that appraisers don't use price per square foot. It's not a thing they factor in. It's part of a thing they factor in, but it's not how they value properties. And so if you're going strictly off price per foot, you're getting lucky that you're hitting it. You're not getting there on purpose. You're getting there on accident, kind of.
So what
It'll
else
get you in the
would they
ballpark. So they look at actual features. They're gonna look at the construction, the
Quality
windows, the
and
quality. Yeah.
similarity.
Now they put things. They try to find the exact same home. That's what they try to do. The exact same home doesn't exist, right? So they're trying to find the exact same home, and then they make adjustments off those things. One of the adjustments is square footage. So what they normally do is take 50% of the value of the square footage and adjust the value. So if we're selling it in a $100 a foot neighborhood, they're only going to give us $50 per foot for the adjustment, even though the homes are selling for $100 a foot. Does that make sense? You're only going to get half the value of the square footage when they're making that adjustment. So it takes the square footage, which is like 90% of how we value homes, and turns it into like 25% of how they value homes. Does that make sense? A square footage is just an identifier to them, so they can find other things that are similar to that square footage, and then it's half the value. So that's where a lot of people get in trouble. It's like, well, we're in line with the square footage, but all your comps are 300 square foot bigger than yours or smaller than yours, and that variance adds up when you're only taking 50% of that value, and that's where you come in with a $10,000 shortage. So if you're using comps that are larger than yours, it's hurting you, because you're trying to get 100 a foot extra for 100 feet, and he's only giving you 50 feet for that $50 for that 100 foot. Does that make sense? Am I explaining that?
Well, like as far as like the tax value, like we looked at that also, and we were way under for even the range.
Yeah.
We're at the very bottom of the range.
Yeah.
So, I don't
And you're
know.
not and here's the other thing, and I've wanted to strangle an appraiser many times in my day, and the appraisal process is a subjective process. It is a guy or girl.
Send in comps either after the fact.
We talked about it in this meeting a couple months ago, and we talked like who sends them stuff, who doesn't. Here's a list of repairs. Here's comps that I came up with. My real world experience is that pisses them off.
Yeah.
Other people say I do it all the time and they love it. And I'm like, oh, do they? Or are they just
They
being
ask
nice
for
to
it
you?
sometimes.
So I've had an appraiser literally say, you don't think I can do my job to me. And I'm just like, give me the paper back. Go do your job.
The only time I do that is if I feel like I'm pushing comps, like
Yeah.
if it's a unique property and I have it priced
Yeah.
really, I know it's priced high.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
I don't know, even that's like, they're just doing too much,
Yeah.
Well,
We-
then come
so
to a
there's
conclusion.
there's two types of appraisers. They're on a spectrum. So over here is like, I'm the top guy, and I'm gonna whatever I say goes and deal with it. And then there's over here, which I love this. I had a guy tell me this: by the time I'm involved, by the time the appraiser's involved, there's already been 2 real estate professionals, 2 members of the public, all come together and agree on this price. My job is to come in and make sure it's just not ridiculous. And that is the most common sense thing I've heard about it. Yes, thank you. A home is worth what someone's willing to pay for it at a most basic level. And there's 2 members of the public and 2 real estate professionals that have said this is the value that we want to sell the home at. And then an appraiser comes in and is like, nope, the worst. I had an appraiser come in $1,500. It's like, you couldn't find $1,500.
Yeah.
Get real. Like, it's a 0.1% of an adjustment. You couldn't make it. So it's
How many times have
We
y'all
had a bad
actually-
day.
Like after the fact, you get it back and it's low, and then you're like, okay, here's my comps. How many times does it actually get adjusted?
never
Like
for me.
never? You have?
I have, yeah.
Never,
Oh.
ever.
Yeah,
Never adjusted.
I've never
I
had
sent
it.
in for a rebuttal one time.
Yeah.
It's Tidewater.
Yeah.
Oh, so Tidewater is a different process because it kind of goes through.
They want your help.
It kind of goes through other people look at it versus just the one person. It's like what I say goes. But yeah, if you're just conventional FHA and you push it back to the appraiser, I don't even know if they even look at it. I think they just I think some of them just say no. Yeah.
I had a weird thing happen on this one recently where it's an FHA loan and it's a historic home and like the whole thing is peeling paint.
Mm-hmm.
And they appraised it, they valued it high, and then they didn't call out any repairs at all, none. And I was like, I was kind of mad. Because
Were you the buyer?
One of your buyers. I have, yeah.
You wanted to beat them up?
And so like,
It's not like a requirement any longer.
like
It's not?
peeling paint,
No.
inside, outside,
On everything?
everywhere.
On VA. Oh, sorry.
If it's older than 1971, I thought it was still,
I thought,
Older than 1970?
I thought.
yeah, because it's still poison.
But they took off that requirement if it's newer than 1971.
Yeah.
Did.
Yeah. If it's lead based, yeah. The whole purpose is that it's probably lead based.
This is 1920s.
Yeah.
Peeling paint.
Lead-based paint.
Yeah.
Gave it high
See,
value.
and the other
Didn't
side of
call.
that,
They didn't call any, no required repairs.
the other side of that is I've had one that was built in like 1977, and it had one piece of chipping paint, and they made me paint the entire house.
Yeah.
And so that's the and so the frustrating part is like you get a bad appraisal and it's just like, can we just fire the lender and get a new lender and get a new appraisal? Because I know it will be better, and some buyers are okay with that, some aren't, and because if it's VA FHA, nothing you can do. It sticks with the property or sticks with the buyer. But conventional, you get a new lender where you cancel out the contract, get a new contract, and they'll call a new appraisal out.
And then
They
I had
can.
conventional with peeling paint, and they did
They
call
call it out. Yeah.
So it's weird.
Yeah, very weird. That's the thing. There may be rules of thumb for them, but each one values a half bath differently. They value a garage versus 2 garage versus 3 garage differently. They value new windows differently. They value each appraiser values each thing differently. There's no standard across it, and so you just get the wrong appraiser and they just ding you on value, and it's incredibly infuriating. But it's kind of a
Do you ever look at when you look at comps, do you look and see whatever people put on there for concessions and stuff?
no, I never do.
Because the appraisers look at that, or?
I have in the past when listing a home, when trying to get them lower, to see the comp was here, but they gave $5,000 away, so really the comp's here, and so I'm trying to bring them, set expectations and bring them down a little bit. But when I'm comping, I don't. Appraisers do though; it's in the appraisal. I had an agent, a very prominent agent that does a lot of business, says that she doesn't put concessions in because it's no one's business. And I was like, it definitely is. I think it's against, this was in an MLS OK board meeting that she said this. And everyone was just like, because MLS's whole thing is accuracy of data. That's their whole thing.
Which is why it's available to put it in there.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I want to know. Yeah, and I think that's if you're giving $8,000 to $10,000, that's a meaningful percentage of the value of the home. It's a concession, but so you can't. Appraisers do look at it. They will put concessions in there. Has everyone looked at an appraisal? Surely, hopefully, I hope. They're hard to read. They're dense, but they have subject property and then they have all the comparable properties. And then they have a bunch of line items on how they add and subtract value from your house, from the comp to the subject property. So one of them is concessions, and so if they gave $5,000 away, that's $5,000 that is deducted if you don't have it. If yours has it, then it's neutral. And so I want her next week to go through an appraisal so people know, because that's the other thing is if you look at an appraiser, you're like, oh, they didn't use this one house I had in my comps, and then you actually run it through their system, that house hurts you when they use it, and there's a reason they didn't use it, and you're like, crap, because I'm just looking at price per foot. That has granite, ours has granite, $100 a foot, and that's not what quite what a comp is. And so there's a lot to the comping process. So, were you just stretching?
I was, but I had an interesting, just last week I had an appraiser call me on my personal house that I bought in November, and he got dinged because the listing agent put 15,000 in concessions, which was over the max amount from what loan type. And it was really 7,000 of,
Oh, and then something
foundation
else.
repairs
Yeah.
that they had put in there. And
With including.
yeah, and I was like, that's cool that they need to, I mean, that they get
Some
reviewed.
call, yeah.
Interesting.
I've had appraisers call
interesting, I know.
as well.
Yeah.
Asking for clarification if it was,
Yeah.
Shall do bills.
So it was 15K total.
And he got dinged because someone said that was too much. I mean, he appraised it incorrectly
Yeah, yeah.
because.
Because that was like closing cost. They were thinking that was just
Yes.
strictly closing costs,
Yeah,
not
not a
total
repair.
price.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't call it a concession, I call it a repair.
Yeah.
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 Interesting.
I know, I've never
Who was
had
that
that.
appraiser?
I didn't know you were supposed to put repairs in the concessions after
You
the
don't,
sale.
you should. That
No.
would, yeah,
Yeah.
you should. Repairs are different than concessions.
Don't label us.
So yeah,
Seller had to pay $10,000 for a new roof, so.
yeah.
Put that in.
That's a repair.
Yeah, I wouldn't, yeah, otherwise, yeah, it'd be, the
Yeah.
appraiser would get in trouble, cause now it's like
Oh, shit.
10% of the
Yeah.
price of the home or whatever, when you add in everything, so, yeah, you shouldn't include, repairs in your concessions.
I have a funny, I've got a couple of sweet clients right now. Their long-term clients are funny. They have a second note out on their house, and they had an appraisal done, of course, at that time, right? And the other day, the appraiser was going out on Tuesday, and he texted me on Monday night. He goes, Jenna, he goes, do you want me to send you the appraisal from last year, or the year before? To send this appraiser. I was like, yeah. I was like, you can send it to me. I was like, but no, I'm not sending this appraisal
Yeah,
to them. I was
no.
like, there's no shot in hell that it would appraise for
It's
that.
useless, well, it's just,
If
it's,
they
yeah.
ask for it, I'll have it prepared.
Yeah.
So, like, there's no chance they're gonna ask for this. They
Yeah.
wanna see those comps from 2 years ago.
Yeah, exactly, it's
Yeah.
useless, it means
Yeah.
nothing.
And you left your breakfast bowls in the sink, like,
Yeah.
no, they're not, it isn't
Yeah.
listed.
Yeah, that's a important, I think, for people to understand too, is an appraiser will go further out geographically before they go further back in time. Markets change over
I was
time.
gonna say louder for the people in the back to hear that.
Yeah, so it's, or they'll concede a little bit more on a condition of a home before they go back in time. And I'm sure that's probably what's happening. We're getting appraisers not wanting to go more than 60 or 90 days back, but we're pulling comps from 180 to 300 days back, and different market then. So, yeah, the appraisal process is a frustrating and imperfect one, but it's the one we have. So, next week, Crystal Manchester will be here talking about appraisal. Should be a good one. And everyone can grill her, just rip her up one down.
She's pretty good though. Have you had her before?
If she's willing to be in front of a bunch of realtors, she's
Yeah.
She already made
There's
it
not many
halfway
women
there.
appraisers.
I've had her a few times and I thought she's a good person.
Oh, okay, good. I have one that I like a lot that's pretty aggressive with her values that I send out when I need high values, and then I have someone who I know is very conservative with their values, and I send them out when I need something low. But if a client says, should we get an appraisal, what does everyone say?
No.
Well, let's do it. Do you want to pay for it?
Yeah. Seller.
Yeah.
Well.
You say yeah?
That's
It's
hard
up to
enough.
them. Like, I've never actually had anyone ask.
A
me.
blind
Oh,
appraisal?
really?
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
I don't want to
No.
be stuck.
I have one I'm about to list, and she got an appraisal because she had to do a HELOC with it.
Right.
And, so she has this number in mind, but I'm having a hard time finding comps that even support that, but she's put in about 50,000 in flooring and paint and
Yeah.
upgrades. So I'm like having a hard time having that comp, figuring figuring out the best strategy for the conversation of like how to list it because
How old is
she
it?
has that appraisal.
How old is the appraisal?
How long ago was the appraisal?
Yeah.
2 or 3 months ago.
For a HELOC?
Yeah.
Do you have the appraisal? Like you
Yeah,
have
it
it?
was, it appraised at like 1.1.
What comps did they use? Can you just use those comps?
I need to get a copy of it.
Oh, she hasn't. Okay, she hasn't seen
She
the
hasn't
comps.
shared.
Okay. Yeah.
With me, she just told me the amount.
Okay.
But then she's like done about 50,000 in repairs since then.
On top of that.
On top of that, so she wants to list it at
Maintenance
like
items
almost
or upgrades?
1.2.
Maintenance items or upgrades?
I mean, like it had, yeah, she took out the carpet, put in new flooring. It had like a lot of wallpaper, took the wallpaper down, had it kind of textured and painted, that kind of stuff.
Significant cosmetic
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah, so I mean,
I usually, depending on where we're at in the value is how I always treated it. So if they wanted 300 and I thought it was 275, I would say, yeah, let's get an appraisal. Because it's another person that's gonna tell them exactly what I'm gonna tell them. It's too high. If it was the other way around, no, because you don't need to, because the appraiser's gonna look at the exact same data I'm gonna look at. Let me just do it for free. You're already paying me. But I only got an appraisal if I knew it was gonna help my argument
Yeah.
with the seller.
for
So,
this I can't really help, but now she wants to list it. I think it might be a little bit high, I mean,
so the conversation I probably have is, unless that appraiser wants to buy it at that price,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
yeah.
The home's worth what someone's willing to pay for it. So this could be a starting point, but if we're not seeing the metrics we need to see with our traffic and our showings and our feedback, then we need to make adjustments.
Is that kind of how you guys handle it? Is like, okay, after a week, we need to have another conversation. Like, if we're getting a lot of views but no showing.
Can I get on a soapbox for this answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Please do, because
I saw this question get asked in the professionals page. And it was like, when do you drop price? And someone's like, 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. And that's the wrong answer. If you're selling in a neighborhood and the average days on market's 30 days, why would you drop it in 2 weeks? It hadn't hit the average, it hadn't sold yet. It's not supposed to sell yet. The average is 30. So you have to have some discipline there. If it's priced right, it will sell in the average days on market. If it's underpriced, it will sell under the average days on market. If it's over, it will sell over, right? Understand the market there. So what I do, and I'll show you exactly, because it's, when I'm talking to sellers, I try to make data-driven decisions. So I'm gonna tell you exactly what to expect. Unless it's in an area with low sales velocity, if I'm selling a house in Okarche or something and there's 25 sales a year, it's tough. It's tough. If you're selling it in Oklahoma County, in a neighborhood, and there's a lot of volume and velocity in your sales, then you can pretty closely tell what it's gonna be. So, like say I'm in 73120 zip code. I come into InfoSparks, plug in my zip code, because that's really as granular as you can get. Can't get any closer to the ground. And then I go to shows per pending down here. And I look at average shows to pending. So what this tells me is in 73120 zip code, I should get 9.4 showings before it goes pending, on average. So that's what I want to see. So that's how we read the market. So if I look at a house and I should get 9.4 showings and the average days on market for that neighborhood is 90, then every 10 days I should get a showing. Does that make sense? So if I drop it after a week, I shouldn't have even got a showing yet. I could be priced exactly right, but we're dropping it because the agent doesn't know how to read the market. So if it sells in 18 days, I should get a showing every other day, right? If the average days on market is 21, like we're talking about, every other day we should be getting a showing. So we should be getting 3-4 showings a week. So if 2 weeks goes by and we're not getting 3 or 4 showings, then we need to have a conversation about if we need to drop it or not. 2 weeks is kind of the benchmark to let the market work, but you shouldn't take action unless the market tells you to take that action. But to just, again, an agent that doesn't know this could wait 2 weeks, getting 2 to 3 showings a week, even though the average days on market's 21, and think, you gotta drop the price, it's been 2 weeks. We've got 8 showings, 2 weeks, no offers, gotta drop it. and they just cost their client 10 grand, 5 grand, whatever they dropped it. So this is what you say when you sit down at the listing appointment with them. You have this number. I like to screenshot it and put it in the presentation that I give them. Show them the days on market. Show them the shows to pending. You divide, do the math, and here's how many per week we need to be getting, or every other week, or whatever it says. And this is how we read the market. If we're not getting this traffic, or if we are getting the traffic and then we hit the average days on market, so say we're getting 3 to 4 a week and 21 days goes by, now we need to make an adjustment also, because now we're above the average. So that's, you got to use the data to tell you what decisions to make. And that's when you tell them, because if you tell them that, this is what I love, if you list properties the right way, the sellers will cut the price for you and you won't even have to have that conversation. When you do this properly, 2 weeks go by and they know they're supposed to be getting 2 to 3 a week and they only got one a week, they're gonna say, Rachel's the time that we dropped the price. Yeah, it is time to drop the price. So if you can show them, instead of, worst thing, what I always tell my clients too is, be careful of an agent that says, I feel like we should do this or that, because they're guessing with your money. They have no idea. I can tell you exactly what's gonna happen, and if it's not happening, we need to adjust it, because the data exists.
But I think that's if they wanna sell on average days of market.
If
too.
they wanna sell on average day to market,
So
that's
if you
exactly
wanna
right.
sell faster.
If you wanna be,
If you wanna sell like it was 2020, then.
you wanna be this guy, we can be this guy, yeah. We can take 99 days to sell your house too, that's fine.
No, I wanna sell it in like 3, so I'm gonna go on.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think, well, then that's when you can decide, hey, I'm gonna see a fit. If you're just trying to, I don't know, fiddle, good luck.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
But
the
you're in a
other,
luxury- You're in a luxury price point, and it's gonna take that range, so it's also like,
yeah.
where's it located?
What's the zip code, do you know, off the top of your head?
This one's hard because it's on 6
On land,
acres.
yeah.
And so I've been having a hard time really getting good comps.
So
Where?
we do admin,
Let me find the address real quick.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I have it on my sheet.
If it's a jewel. like a
so
Yeah.
here's what I did here. I did Edmond, and then I said 750 or more. That's, I call that a luxury. And then I did the same thing, shows to pending.
Yeah, I got that.
We're at 9.
That's the
So
address. 4001 Braxton Way in Edmond. 73034.
is that it?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. Maybe, but it doesn't look like that anymore, but yeah.
What's the neighborhood?
401.
Coffee Creek Hills,
Yeah, it's like there's only like, how many, 8 houses in the neighborhood.
6 acres.
And they're all like,
Exclusive?
yes, like I think one is even like.
There's a lot of buyers that are waiting for this house to come
Yeah,
up too.
is there a shop, is there more schools?
No shop, no pool.
No pool.
But
Room for it?
it's got room for it, it's on 6
HOA.
acres.
HOA?
There's not, it's really loud.
She redid the kitchen, right?
Yeah, so she painted everything.
Very traditional, yeah.
Changed the flooring, took the wallpaper
Well, the
down.
outside doesn't match.
What year is it?
The outside looks like it's.
And
gonna
she's
be-
done more work to the outside too, like she
220.
painted everything.
What's the age?
Painting.
I'm assuming that community probably has
Or if it's listed
maybe
in-
lot numbers, or yeah, it was listed in 2022 by the builder.
Yeah, she had it custom built.
Yeah.
She's cute. What's anything sold there over $1 million recently?
Nothing sold in there.
Lower or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
What years it built?
There's
Two-
like
22,
8
or two,
houses.
two.
She just built one at the very end of the
Okay,
neighborhood.
there's not that
Hers is
much.
like right at the entrance.
So if they change